Hi again, boys and girls. It's Miss Watson. I hope your summer is going really well. We've had some hot days. We've had a lot of rain. I thought we would take our reading today outside in my backyard. So we're sitting in my backyard at my table where I like to eat and everything. So, in case you didn't know, I have my favorite Slurpee here. I love a good Slurpee, and today is July 11th, 7-Eleven. So I don't know if you know, but if you go to 7-Eleven today, you get a free Slurpee. So I'm sure a lot of you do. Frozen Coke. Okay, so when we last left off with Chocolate Touch, we are on chapter 4 today. So if we remember in chapter 3, John finally is starting to realize he has this chocolate magic. So he brushed his teeth with toothpaste, and it tasted like chocolate. And then he's eating breakfast, and he eats all of his breakfast because all of it tastes like chocolate. And his mother she's so pleased with the way that he's eating because she doesn't know that he now has the chocolate touch, right? And she even tells him, hey, let me give you some money so you can buy some chocolates today. And he says, no, I don't think I'll need it, Mom. So that's where we left off today. But before we do that in our book, I want to go over the assignment. And day 4's assignment is chapter 4 and chapter 5. So it's only one assignment for both of those chapters today. I'm going to shoot the chapters separately, so this is for chapter 4. I'll go over the assignment again in chapter 5 as well. Do you have your favorite poem book that I made you out? Because we are going to go to page, I guess it would be, if this was 1 and 2, I guess it would be 3 and 4. So it looks like this. So in case parents don't know, this is our class's, well, one of our class's most favorite poems. So
I wonder why.
We're going to start with the snake problem right here. Snake problem. It's not that I don't care for snakes, but oh, what do you do when a 24 python says, I love you? I don't know what you would do if a 24-foot python said I love you, but I know I would run. I would run.
But I know I would run as well.
Okay. He's always got something to say. All right. So on the other page are 2 poems, My Guitar and Spelling Bee, which is our favorite. So I'm going to read My Guitar next, okay? My Guitar. Oh, wouldn't it be a most wondrous thing to have a guitar that could play and could sing? By itself, what an absolute joy it would be to have a guitar that didn't need me. All right, now our favorite, Spelling Bee. I got stung by a bee. I won't tell you where. I got stung by a bee. I was just lying there, and it tattooed a message I can't let you see that spells out, hello, you've been stung by a bee. Oh my goodness. I think I know why this is one of Malachi's favorite poems. I believe Malachi was one of the kids who said, hey, can you put this one in? It's one of our favorites. So I do see you out there, Malachi. How are you? And I see Nathan out there ready to learn with us today, including my Reagan. Hi, Reagan. How are you? I miss you also very much. Do you have do you remember the Chocolate Touch paper? Mine's all folded up. Yours might be too, and that's okay. I'll still take it. So today's skill is cause and effect. So it says a cause and effect relationship is where one thing makes something else happen. As you read, look for the missing pieces of the cause and effect relationship below. So the effect is going to happen, you haven't read it yet, but John will eat his old gloves. What causes John to eat his old gloves? So some of you might be already thinking, I think I know what makes him eat it. Oh, that's called prediction, and that's good to do too. There's a cause down here. It says, John's pencil turned into chocolate. So what was the effect? What happened when John's pencil turned into chocolate? So those are some of the clues that I want you to listen for as we read. And again, this is chapters 4 and 5. Today, on this particular clip, we're going to read chapter 4. Okay, chapter 4. Here we go. Chapter 4 has John's old gloves there. John had the bad habit of chewing things when he was thinking hard. This morning he had several things to think about. What had made the toothpaste taste like chocolate? What had made the orange juice taste like chocolate? What had made the bacon and egg taste like chocolate? What had made the toast and butter and marmalade taste like chocolate? Each one of these things had felt the way it had always felt before. The toothpaste had been soft and pasty. The bacon had been hot, crisp, and oily. The toast had been crunchy and the marmalade sticky and lumpy. But everything had tasted like the chocolate he had eaten in his bed last night. John put a gloved thumb in his mouth and he thoughtfully chewed. His mother had frequently pointed out to him that chewing his glove made little holes that let in the cold air. But he chewed them just the same when he was thinking hard. This time he noticed something was very queer about the thumb of his glove. Instead of tasting leathery, it tasted like chocolate. John pulled the thumb out of his mouth. The part of the glove that had been in his mouth was now brown instead of black like the rest. He bit the end of the leather thumb again, and it came right off in his mouth, leaving his own thumb bare. John chewed. It was like chewing leather made of chocolate, leather that melted like chocolate. In a second or two, he swallowed it. The gloves were not new. John had them quite a while. He couldn't understand why he had never thought of eating them before. He tried to tear off one of the fingers, but the leather was too strong for him. He put it in his mouth, and immediately it turned into chocolate. Then he was able to break it off easily. He popped it into his mouth and chewed it up and swallowed it. It was delicious. Walking along, devouring his glove, John did not notice one of his schoolfellows, Spider Wilson, until he heard his voice. So, if you're thinking, boys and girls, I want to interrupt us. The effect was John ate one of his gloves. What caused him to eat his glove? Okay? It's what the whole book is based on. So we're on page 48. We're on the third line. John's gone crazy! John's gone crazy! Spider yelled. Then he turned on John. Don't they feed you where you live? He sneered. The spider was in the grade just above John's, and was one of the meanest, slyest boys in the whole school. John gulped down a large piece of the second glove's palm and looked pleased. What's the matter? Spider demanded. Do your people make you eat leather? This is special leather, John replied. He licked his lips and sighed contently. Contently means happily, peacefully. He's happy right now. He sighed contently. It turns into chocolate as soon as you put it into your mouth. Look! John bit off the glove's little finger and took it out of his mouth. Now it's chocolate. He put it back into his mouth and gulped it down. Give me a piece, Spider said. Top of page 51, boys and girls. Why should I? John wanted to know. They're my gloves. Hand over a piece, Spider said. Do I eat your gloves? John asked reasonably, his mouth full of chocolate. Why should you eat mine? Those aren't real gloves, Spider said. Whenever one person has candy, he has to share it with others. That's the club rule. What club? John asked. Never mind what club, Spider said, but you better let me have some of that chocolate. Without waiting longer, Spider snatched what was left of the second glove. John was too surprised to resist, and he didn't want to anyhow. He had a feeling that he had enough chocolate for a while. He was getting a bit thirsty. Spider ran only a little way ahead. When he saw that John wasn't going to fight to get the glove back, he started to eat his prize. He stuffed the leather into his mouth and took a big bite. Spider stopped short in his tracks. He frowned and bit deep into the leather again. Disgusting. It tasted worse than just leather. It tasted like leather which a boy had made mud pies and snowballs and patted old dogs. John thought perhaps he might be getting late for school, so he started running. He left Spider Wilson spitting the soggy remains of the glove into the gutter. Still giggling to himself about the defeat of the enemy, John walked between the great stone pillars at the entrance of the school grounds. He had gone no more than halfway to the main building when he heard Susan Buttercup calling him. She was standing near the jungle gym with some of her friends. "I've got something to show you, John," she shouted. As she came running to meet him, he could see that she was waving something in her hand that it flashed as it caught the rays of the sun. It was a silver dollar. "It's a birthday present," she exclaimed, showing him the dollar. "Isn't it beautiful?" The sight of such wealth made John forget the triumphs of his own day. "It's a good present," he said. "Are you sure it's made of silver, though? I once got a whole bag of gold coins in a Christmas stocking, only they were chocolate coins covered with gold paper." "Of course it's real, silly," Susan said. "My daddy said so. You can feel it if you don't believe me." She handed him the coin. John looked at it suspiciously. "All right," Susan said. "Bite it if you think it isn't real. Go on, bite it." John felt rather silly. "I can see it's real now," he said. "I don't have to bite it." "But I want you to," Susan insisted. "You weren't sure? Well, make sure. That's what they always do on television when a cowboy wants to make sure a dollar is real. He bites it." Top of page 54, boys and girls. I'm on the 4th line. The word starts with John. John put the dollar about halfway into his mouth and reluctantly bit it. His teeth went right through the coin. The part that had passed between his lips was hard but sweet chocolate. Susan could hardly believe her eyes. She had given John a complete circle of silver. He sadly handed back a crescent. So boys and girls, a crescent, I want you to think about the moon. And when the moon sort of looks like a toenail in the sky, that's a crescent. So when he bit the coin, it looked like the crescent moon. Okay? He sadly handed back a crescent. John didn't know what to say. Susan couldn't speak. Tears trickled down her cheeks like rain down a window pane. She looked at the piece of dollar in her hand. She looked up at John, whose face was red with embarrassment. "John Midas," she blurted out at last. "I hate you." She turned and ran away before John could think of anything at all to say. And that's the end of chapter 4, boys and girls. So, remember, you can't do this page until I've read chapter 5, which will be in the next video. Oh, but how exciting was that chapter? So John ate his gloves, and he tricked Spider into trying to, and then his friend Susan came and he turned her coin into chocolate. So we're starting to see some problems in this story of having a chocolate touch, right?
I wonder if he's gonna bite his or kiss his mom, and she's gonna turn into chocolate.
So I want to say too that I thought that I saw Andrew out there. Are you out there, Andrew? Hi, Andrew. And I know my Kylies, both my Kylies are out there, so I want to say hello to them too. I hope I'm not missing anyone's names. It's just so hard. And I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.